You have to pay attention to what your frequency is. And the way you pay attention to what your frequency is by paying attention to the way you feel. If it feels off, it's off. If you don't feel good, if you don't feel elation, if you're not in the range of, we'll give you the in the vortex range. It feels like frisky. It feels like love. It feels like appreciation. It feels high and happy. It feels like fun. It feels like exhilaration. It feels like joy. It feels like love, 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 love. It feels like well-being. It feels like wellness. It feels like clarity. It feels like vitality. It feels like stability. It feels like interest in a subject. It feels really, really, really good to be in the vortex. And if you're off a bit, if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel frustration, you're off. If you're visiting with someone and they say something to you and you wish you hadn't heard it, it sort of makes you uncomfortable. If it feels off, your perspective of what you heard is off from the perspective of what the source within you heard. In other words, it doesn't matter what they said. The way you hear it is what matters. And we want you to come to understand in the days that we are together that your inner being hears every single thing that you hear through different vibrational ears. Your inner being hears what's being asked for, not the complaint that's being offered in the moment. In other words, when your friend says, I'm having a hard life, and you feel that knot in your stomach because you believe your friend and you've focused upon the hard life that your friend is living, and you feel sad for your friend's hard life moment or hard life experience or expression, the reason you feel the knot in your stomach is not because your friend is having a hard life. We know it seems like that because the knot came when you found out about your friend's hard life. But the knot in your stomach, that vibrational emotional indicator, it's not because your friend is having a hard life. It's because the source within you is seeing your friend differently than you are. And what we mean by that is when your friend or you or anyone that you know is expressing what they don't want, complaining or worrying about it, there is a rocket of desire that is proportionate in depth and breadth and power to the other side of that wave. In other words, the complaint wave has an appreciation wave on the other side of it, just as all vibrations do. So when your friend complains, your friend bounces a wave into his vortex of creation, where your and their inner being receive the vibration of that wave. So your friend heard the request while you're hearing the complaint. You see what we're getting at? And when you hear the complaint, can you hear what we're saying? When you hear the complaint, the negative emotion that you feel is not because of the complaint. It's because you're listening to the wrong side of the wave. You didn't take the bounce. Your inner being did. So when your child says, Mom, they're mean to me at school, and you feel that heartbroken feeling of compassion for your child, so wanting to kill those kids, so hurting because your child is hurting, you didn't take the bounce. Your child's inner being took the bounce. Your inner being is in the vortex, receiving the bounce, the other side of the wave, but you're listening to the complaint. You're listening to the trauma. When you watch what's going on in Haiti and your heart aches, you didn't take the bounce. You're focused upon the drama and the trauma, and we are not for a moment suggesting that it isn't real. But the reason that you feel that awful feeling that you feel is not because of what happened. It's because you're not doing the productive thing about what happened. You're not doing the helpful thing about what happened. You're not riding the wave of desire. You're not going where source goes. You're not becoming part of the solution. You're still part of the problem. When you feel negative emotion, you're still part of the complaint. When you feel worried, you're still part of the problem. When you feel confused, you're still part of the problem. When you are angry, you are still part of the problem. But when you take the bounce, you're no longer part of the problem. You're part of the solution. And then you're doing the only thing that you really can do, because think about it. Think how many of those things that you worry about, and we would say all of them. You're not ready to go there with us yet, but think how many of those things that you worry about, that you have no control about them. You can't follow your child around and make sure that your child is treated the way you would prefer. And if you pretend that you can, you're weakening your child a little more every single day. You can't go to every corner of the world and soothe the problem that they are currently living. There are too many moving parts. There is too much that is uncontrollable. But you can become part of the solution. You can ride the wave. You can feel for the way the source within you feels about each and every subject that you turn your attention to. It is our absolute promise to you that every subject in every moment has two sides to the vibrational bounce. And you got to decide which side you're going to take. So when you decide that you're going to line up with who you really are, when you decide that you're going to become solution oriented, when you remember that the problem is always outside the vortex and the solution is always inside the vortex, when you decide, and here's the key, that you want to feel good, when you are selfish enough to care about how you feel, then you will feel for the way the source within you feels about every subject that comes across your thinking process. Every subject evokes emotion from you, every single one. There is never an emotionless moment for you. Every waking moment, you are having vibrational discernment. And what we want this seminar to be for you, we want it to be your opportunity to acknowledge both sides of the wave and to discern in more moments in a day, thousands of them really, which side of the wave you're on, as you then make a deliberate decision to take the bounce that the source within you took, to try to find the point of view the source has already found. And when you do, when you begin making that effort, you will find yourself more often than not in the vortex. Esther will say to Jerry, after basking her way to sleep and basking her way awake, and then some meditation, and then a list of positive aspects, and then a rampage of appreciation. It's about a 40-minute process from beginning to end, the night before and the morning after. But she finds, and he does too, that being in the vortex is a very simple thing to do. It's just vibrational discernment and choice. It's just deciding which side of the wave of every question or every equation or every comment or every television show or every magazine article or every person that says every word to you. It's just a decision about whether you're going to take the bounce the source took or whether you're going to listen to the problem and the complaint and stay there outside the vortex in order to be there for someone who doesn't want to be where they are either. So, we've been calling this gathering a lot of different things over the years. At first, we called it the science of deliberate creation because we thought it was of value for you to realize that you have choices about the direction of your thought, and that if you will apply yourself deliberately, you will discover law-based science. You will discover that there is a law, the law of attraction, that is so consistent and so prevalent and so available for your awareness that if you will deliberately direct your thoughts, you can create the reality of your choice. And people flocked to the idea of that. They really liked the idea of, I can create my own reality. In many cases, because they did not like the reality that they were living. They wanted more money, and they wanted a better life experience, and they wanted a more meaningful relationship, and they wanted a more purposeful feeling in life. They wanted to feel better in their body. They wanted a lot of things that they were not currently living, and the idea of, I create my own reality was appealing. Until they found out it meant they had to think deliberately. Because thinking deliberately takes effort. And the reason thinking deliberately takes effort is because law of attraction will keep bringing back to you feedback about the thoughts that you've already been thinking.